The diplomats fall. The gilded halls of the Galactic Conclave's central chamber glittered with an artificial opulence that Ambassador Elena Kovic found nauseating. Towering crystalline pillars stretched toward a holographic ceiling, displaying the hundreds of worlds that made up this so-called unified galactic government. Elena adjusted her formal diplomatic uniform, taking a deep breath as she prepared to address the assembly yet again. After 3 years of petitioning, begging, and negotiating, humanity was still being denied full membership status. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Conclave, Elena began, her voice steady despite the condescending stares from the alien delegates. Earth has fulfilled every requirement outlined in your membership protocols. We have demonstrated peaceful intentions, established sustainable interstellar travel, and contributed valuable scientific advancements to the galactic community. The Phyrexian High Minister, a serpentine creature with prismatic scales, flicked his forked tongue in obvious disdain. The human speaks as though fulfilling basic civilizational requirements deserves special recognition. Elena had grown accustomed to such dismissals. Humanity was considered young, volatile, unpredictable, a primitive species that had achieved faster than light travel too soon, according to many conclave members. What they failed to understand was that humanity's rapid advancement wasn't despite our challenges, but because of them. Earth's history of conflict, competition, and survival had forged an innovative spirit that many of these complacent species couldn't comprehend. With respect, Minister, Elena countered, Earth doesn't seek special recognition, only equal standing. Our technology may be younger, but our potential contributions to this body are substantial. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated murmurs and hisses. Elena caught fragments of insults and mockery from species who believed their centuries or millennia of space travel made them superior. What they didn't know, what Elena had been explicitly instructed never to reveal, was that Earth wasn't as defenseless or technologically backward as they assumed. After the first contact 50 years ago, humanity had united under a singular purpose: survival in a universe that might not welcome them. While public-facing diplomatic missions continued, Earth's greatest minds had worked tirelessly in hidden facilities across the solar system, reverse engineering alien technology and developing innovations that even the Conclave hadn't conceived. The human ambassador makes an impassioned plea, announced Archon Zextrel, the nominal leader of the Conclave and member of the ancient Ixalan race. However, the Conclave has determined that Earth requires additional observation periods before consideration for full membership. Elena bit back her frustration. Archon, this marks the 7th observation period extension in 3 years. May I inquire as to what specific benchmarks Earth has failed to achieve? The Archon's 4 eyes narrowed, their bioluminescent glow dimming slightly. Your understanding of galactic politics remains underdeveloped. Ambassador Kovic. The Conclave moves with appropriate caution and wisdom accumulated over millennia. Humanity's impatience only demonstrates why further observation is necessary. As Elena left the chamber, her neural implant vibrated subtly against her skull, a secure communication from Earth Command. There, stalling deliberately, came the encrypted voice of General Santos. Our intelligence suggests something larger at play. Consider implementation of Protocol Sentinel. Protocol Sentinel was the emergency contingency, a heightened alert status that would activate Earth's hidden defensive systems while extracting key personnel from potential danger zones. Elena had hoped never to use it. Acknowledged, she vocalized, the implant capturing her whispered response. We'll initiate it next cycle. Something feels wrong here. What Elena couldn't know was that in the private chambers behind the conclave hall, the leading ministers were already discussing her fate. The human representative grows too perceptive, hissed the Phyrexian minister. Our scans detect their system is developing quantum shielding technologies that even our oldest members haven't perfected. Archon Zextrel nodded solemnly. The assessment teams agree. Humanity is advancing at an alarming rate. Their neural adaptability and problem-solving capabilities exceed our models. If given another century, they could potentially overshadow even the founding species of this conclave. "Then we are agreed?" asked the Molteran delegate, her volcanic skin crackling with heat. "The human threat must be neutralized before they realize their potential." "It is regrettable," the Archon sighed, "but necessary for galactic stability. Humanity's evolutionary path is too aggressive, too adaptable. The execution must appear justified, however. Prepare the evidence of human espionage and aggression." 3 days later, Elena stood shocked in a smaller conclave chamber, surrounded by armed guards from 4 different species. Before her, a holographic display showed fabricated evidence of human military installations and supposed plans for aggression against conclave worlds. Ambassador Elena Kovac of Earth announced the Archon formally. "You stand accused of espionage, sabotage, and plotting military action against peaceful conclave members. How do you respond to these charges?" Elena's mind raced. Protocol Sentinel had been initiated, but extraction would take time. Time she suddenly realized she didn't have. These weren't legitimate charges. This was a show trial with a predetermined outcome. "These accusations are fabricated," she declared, maintaining her diplomatic composure despite the growing knot of fear in her stomach. "Earth has maintained peaceful relations and has no hostile installations as depicted in these obviously falsified images." The Vryxian minister approached, towering over her human frame. "Your denials are noted, Ambassador. However, the evidence has been reviewed by the High Security Council and found compelling." "This is absurd," Elena protested. "I demand communication with Earth authorities and a proper defense as guaranteed under Conclave Charter, Article 47. The Archon's expression remained impassive. "The security threat has been deemed immediate. The Charter allows for expedited proceedings in such cases." Elena realized with growing horror that this wasn't merely a diplomatic miscommunication or even an attempt to delay Earth's membership. This was an execution disguised as justice. She activated her emergency beacon, hoping Earth's monitoring stations would detect her situation. "I wish to make a final statement," she announced, stalling for time. "Proceed," the Archon permitted with a dismissive gesture. Elena straightened her shoulders and looked directly into the recording devices she knew would be transmitting this mockery of justice across conclave channels. Unknown to her captors, Earth's quantum intelligence systems would be intercepting and analyzing every word, every facial expression. "I came to the Galactic Conclave representing humanity's hope for peaceful cooperation," she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Earth extended its hand in friendship, offering knowledge, resources, and partnership. If this body chooses to respond with treachery and violence, remember this moment. Remember that we sought peace first." She paused, scanning the faces of the assembled aliens. Some showed discomfort, others determination. A few even displayed what she recognized as sadistic anticipation. "You believe humanity is dangerous because we advanced quickly, because our history contains conflict. What you fail to understand is that those struggles taught us resilience. We learned to overcome impossible odds, to adapt when facing extinction. We became stronger through our trials, not in spite of them." Elena saw the guards shifting uneasily, but continued. Her words were no longer meant for the conclave officials, but for those who would hear this message on Earth. "If you execute me today, you will not be eliminating a threat. You will be creating one. Humanity extended a hand in peace. Remember what you did with that offered hand when you face what comes next." The Archon signaled, and 2 guards approached with a ceremonial weapon, a pulse blade designed to sever the connection between consciousness and body. Elena felt a flash of terror, but forced herself to remain composed. Her final act would be one of dignity. "Ambassador Elena Kovac, the Conclave finds you guilty of crimes against galactic peace. The sentence is immediate execution." The blade hummed with energy as it approached her neck. Elena's final thoughts were not of fear, but of the response she knew would come. Earth had prepared for hostility from the stars for generations. The Conclave had just made a catastrophic miscalculation. The transmission to Earth cut off precisely as the blade connected with Alina's neck. In the Strategic Command Center beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Amelia Santos watched the feed terminate in stunned silence. Around her, military officials, government representatives, and intelligence officers remained frozen in horror. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then, a technician's voice broke the silence. "Confirmation, sir. Ambassador Kovach's life signs have terminated. Neural link disconnected at 14:27 UTC. General Santos closed her eyes briefly, allowing herself one moment of grief for the diplomat she had selected personally for this mission. Alina had been brilliant, compassionate, and dedicated to peaceful solutions. Her death would not be in vain. "Switch to Security Protocol Omega," Santos commanded. Her voice hardened. "Activate all dormant defense systems and recall all deep cover operatives from Conclave space." President Renata Morrison, who had been watching from the command center's upper level, descended to join the general. Her face was ashen, but her eyes burned with controlled fury. "They executed our ambassador during a supposed peace summit," she stated, not as a question but as confirmation of the unthinkable. "After 3 years of good faith negotiations." "Yes, Madam President," General Santos confirmed. "Based on Ambassador Kovach's final transmission and our intelligence assessments, this appears to be a preemptive strike against Earth, an attempt to intimidate us into submission before eliminating us entirely." The President nodded slowly. "They believe us weaker than we are. A miscalculation that will cost them dearly." She turned to address the room. "Initiate the Phoenix Protocol. All defensive measures are now offensive. Activate the 7th Fleet." A ripple of surprise moved through the command center. The 7th Fleet was classified beyond top secret, a battle group constructed in the hidden shipyards of Jupiter's moons, equipped with technologies that even most high-ranking officials didn't know existed. Commander Marcus Chen stepped forward from the shadows of the room. As head of Earth's Special Warfare Division, he had spent the last decade preparing for this exact scenario. "Madam President, General," he acknowledged with a crisp nod. "Operation Starfall is prepared for immediate deployment. Our stealth carriers can be in position near key Conclave worlds within 72 hours. President Morrison studied the hardened commander. Chen had been one of the architects of Earth's hidden military expansion, always insisting that diplomatic efforts, while necessary, needed to be backed by overwhelming force. "The Conclave believes they've eliminated a troublesome species seeking a seat at their table," Chen continued. "They don't realize they've awakened a force that will reshape the galaxy." General Santos brought up a holographic display of known Conclave territories. "Our first targets should be their communication hubs and defense nodes. We need to isolate their worlds from each other before they can mount a unified response." Chen nodded in agreement. "Anther leadership, the Archon, and primary ministers must be captured or eliminated immediately. Without central authority, the Conclave will fragment along existing political fractures." The President considered the strategic assessment. "They killed our diplomat, our offer of peace, without hesitation or mercy. Now they'll learn what humanity is truly capable of." She turned to face the assembled military command. "This is not merely retaliation. This is survival. The Conclave has shown they consider us a threat to be eliminated. We will not wait for them to strike our homeworld." As the command center erupted into coordinated activity, preparations for humanity's devastating response accelerated across the solar system. Hidden shipyards around Saturn, Jupiter, and Neptune's moons activated production protocols. Stealth observation posts positioned throughout Conclave space began transmitting detailed intelligence on defense systems and fleet positions. Commander Chen retreated to his private command station, reviewing the final recording of Ambassador Kovach's execution. Her composure in the face of death, her warning to her killers. These would become rallying symbols for Earth's forces. "You showed them our best," he whispered to the image of the fallen diplomat. Now they'll see our worst. Within 24 hours, Earth's hidden fleets emerged from their concealed docks and stealth positions throughout the solar system. Ships that no alien intelligence had detected, weapons that no conclave scientist had conceived, and soldiers enhanced with technologies that combined the best of human innovation with reverse-engineered alien advancements. The conclave had killed Earth's diplomat, believing they were removing a nuisance. Instead, they had ignited a fury that would reshape galactic politics forever. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not as a supplicant begging for recognition, but as an avenging force that would demand respect through power and action. Operation Starfall had begun. The stars themselves would tremble. Earth unleashed. The Vrexian minister's luxurious private chambers shook violently as another explosion rocked the orbital palace above Nexus Prime. Alarms blared, emergency lighting bathed the ornate room in blood-red hues, and the distant sound of weapons fire echoed through the station's superstructure. Impossible, the minister hissed, scales flaring with stress patterns. How did they penetrate our defenses so quickly? His aide, trembling visibly, activated a holographic display showing the devastation unfolding across conclave space. Minister, reports indicate synchronized attacks on 17 critical systems. Our defensive fleets at Krell, Axios, and Vermithrax Prime have been completely neutralized. Communication relays throughout the Outer Rim are offline. The humans couldn't possibly have this capability, the minister snarled. Their technology is centuries behind ours. The aide's reply was cut short as the chamber doors imploded inward. Through the smoke strode a figure in matte black combat armor, face concealed behind an intimidating tactical helmet. Behind this leader came a squad of similarly equipped human soldiers, their movements precise and unnervingly coordinated. Minister Vorex of the Vrexian hierarchy, the lead human stated, voice distorted through external speakers. Your presence is required. Before the minister could respond, precision stun weapons fired. The Vrexian collapsed, his nervous system overwhelmed by targeted electromagnetic pulses calibrated specifically for his species' biology. Commander Marcus Chen removed his helmet, studying the unconscious alien with cold satisfaction. Package secured, he reported into his neural comm. Proceeding with Phase 2. Across 17 star systems, similar scenes unfolded with devastating efficiency. Earth's hidden military capability, the result of 50 years of preparation, innovation, and reverse engineering, struck the conclave's leadership, communication network, and defense infrastructure simultaneously. It was not merely an attack. It was surgical excision of the conclave's ability to respond coherently. The Reaper Squadron, Earth's most elite special forces unit, spearheaded the most critical operations. Composed of soldiers enhanced with cutting-edge biotechnology and equipped with weapons systems that combined human ingenuity with adapted alien science, they moved like ghosts through supposedly impenetrable defenses. Lieutenant Sophia Reyes, second in command of Reaper Squadron, led the assault on the Conclave's primary communication hub on Tellerus Station. Unlike the capture operations targeting leadership, her mission was complete destruction. Charges set, reported her demolition specialist as the team placed quantum destabilizers at key structural points. Station personnel secured in escape pods. Reyes nodded approvingly. Launch all pods to safe distance. Initiation in 3 minutes. Despite the fury driving Earth's response, human forces maintained strict discipline regarding civilian casualties. Military targets were neutralized with extreme prejudice, but evacuation protocols were implemented wherever possible. This wasn't merely ethical consideration, it was strategic. Earth needed to fracture the conclave politically, turning its member species against each other rather than unifying them against humanity. Back on Earth, President Morrison addressed a global broadcast from the newly revealed Military Command Center. Citizens of Earth and our colonies, 3 days ago, the Galactic Conclave executed Ambassador Elena Kovac without provocation or legitimate cause. This act of barbarism was intended to intimidate humanity, to force us into subservience or prepare us for eventual extinction. Footage of Elena's execution played alongside the president's address, her dignity in the face of death, stirring powerful emotions worldwide. For 50 years, we have prepared for the possibility that we would not be welcomed as equals among the stars. While our diplomatic corps worked tirelessly for peace, our defense forces developed capabilities beyond anything the Conclave imagined possible. Strategic footage from Operation Starfall displayed Earth ships neutralizing alien defenses with overwhelming technological superiority. Today, we demonstrate that humanity will not be subjugated, will not be eliminated, and will not be denied our rightful place in this galaxy. The Conclave leadership who ordered this execution are now in custody, awaiting justice for their crimes. In the Archon's captured flagship, Commander Chen personally oversaw the interrogation of Zex Trell and the other high ministers. No physical torture was employed. Earth's methods were far more sophisticated. Specialized neural interfaces extracted information directly while psychological warfare experts dismantled centuries of arrogance. "You fundamentally misunderstood us," Chen explained calmly to the captive Archon. "You saw our diplomatic efforts as weakness, our requests for recognition as desperation. You never questioned why a species with our history of adaptation and survival would approach you from a position of apparent vulnerability." The Archon's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of extreme distress in Ixalan physiology. "Your advancement was deemed too rapid, too dangerous. The Conclave has maintained stability for millennia by controlling the pace of technological development." Chen laughed without humor. "So you admit it. You executed our ambassador not because of any actual threat, but because you feared our potential. You don't understand the responsibilities of galactic governance," the Archon insisted. "Some species must be guided, others contained. Your kind will not be contained." Chen interrupted sharply. "That decision was made for us when you killed Ambassador Kovic. As Earth forces solidified control over key Conclave infrastructure, fractures within the 1,000-year-old political entity became increasingly apparent. Species that had long chafed under the dominance of the founding races began declaring independence, or, more significantly, requesting Earth's protection. The Talarians, renowned scientists who had been denied full access to research facilities for centuries, were among the first to reach out. The Krell Confederation, warriors who respected strength above all, recognized humanity's military prowess and offered alliance. Even some factions within the major Conclave species began distancing themselves from their former leadership, claiming they had been misled about human intentions. 2 weeks into Operation Starfall, a discovery on the Archon's private vessel changed everything. A specialized Earth intelligence team uncovered a hidden data core containing Elena Kovic's final neural upload, the complete record of her thoughts and experiences in her final moments, captured by the Conclave for analysis but preserved intact. Within this data was something the Conclave executioners hadn't recognized: Elena's activation of an experimental quantum entanglement protocol that Earth scientists had secretly implanted. In her final moments, knowing she would die, Ambassador Kovic had transmitted not just her final words, but her complete neural state, her memories, knowledge, and essence. When this discovery was relayed to Earth Command, General Santos immediately ordered the data transferred to a secure facility for analysis. What they found stunned even the hardened military leadership. Elena's final thoughts included a coded message, instructions on accessing the hidden diplomatic initiative she had been developing without the Conclave's knowledge. She had been building connections with disaffected species and factions throughout Conclave space, creating a framework for a new galactic alliance based on mutual respect rather than the hierarchical structure the Conclave imposed. Even in death, she was working for peace, President Morrison remarked somberly when presented with the findings. While we prepared for war, she never abandoned the possibility of something better. Commander Chen, who had advocated for overwhelming military response, found himself moved by the fallen diplomat's foresight. She understood what we didn't, that military victory alone wouldn't secure our future. We need allies, not just conquered worlds. The president nodded thoughtfully. Then we adapt our strategy. We continue to dismantle the Conclave's military capability, but we simultaneously implement Ambassador Kovich's alliance framework. Earth's approach shifted subtly but significantly. Military operations became more selective, targeting only hardline Conclave factions that refused negotiation. Meanwhile, diplomatic teams, now protected by overwhelming force, engaged with species throughout former Conclave space. Alina's neural record was used to create an interactive holographic representation that addressed representatives from across the galaxy. The message was simple but powerful. Earth sought neither domination nor revenge, but a new galactic order based on mutual respect and cooperation. I gave my life believing in the possibility of peaceful coexistence, the Alina hologram stated, its neural patterns making it nearly indistinguishable from the real diplomat. Earth now offers you a choice: continue the Conclave's path of hierarchy and control, or join us in creating something new. The response was overwhelming. Species that had suffered under Conclave dominance for centuries saw an opportunity for true partnership. Technological exchange agreements were established, trade routes realigned, and joint security protocols implemented. 3 months after Ambassador Kovich's execution, representatives from 73 formerly Conclave-affiliated species gathered on Earth, the first alien delegation ever permitted on humanity's homeworld. They came not as conquerors or as supplicants, but as equals seeking a new beginning. In the garden outside the new Galactic Cooperation headquarters in Geneva, a memorial statue of Alina Kovich stood with hand extended in friendship. At its base, words from her final message were inscribed in Earth languages, and those of all member species. Peace requires strength, wisdom requires humility, and true power comes not from domination, but from cooperation. Let my death mark the end of one era and the beginning of something greater. Commander Chen, now appointed as Earth's defense coordinator for the new alliance, often visited the memorial during quiet moments. The military leader who had spent decades preparing for war found himself implementing peace instead. "We got it partly wrong," he admitted to General Santos as they stood before the statue. "We prepared for the worst of them without giving enough credit to the best of us." Santos nodded thoughtfully. Alina understood something fundamental, that our greatest strength isn't our technology or our military capability, but our adaptability. They killed her expecting to eliminate a threat, but instead created a catalyst for transformation. The new galactic reality emerging from the ashes of the Conclave was neither the peaceful integration Alina had initially sought nor the dominant military position Chen had envisioned. It was something uniquely human, pragmatic, resilient, and ultimately hopeful. Earth had entered galactic society not through humble petition, but through decisive action. The species that had evolved through countless hardships on a single world now helped reshape the political landscape of hundreds. What the Conclave had feared, humanity's potential to change everything, had been realized, though not in the way anyone expected. As ships from dozens of worlds moved freely through Earth's solar system, and human vessels ventured confidently into the far reaches of allied space, the galaxy adjusted to a new reality. Humanity had arrived, not as conquerors or supplicants, but as architects of a better future. The Conclave had killed Earth's diplomat, expecting to eliminate a nuisance. Instead, they had unleashed humanity's full potential upon the stars. And the stars would never be the same.